What is going on, everybody? Back with another Power Ranger Megazord review, this time with the Power Rangers SPD Delta Squad Megazord from 2005. So this is pretty cool, getting the main Megazord from SPD. So it looks pretty cool overall with our 5 vehicles that make up the Zord. So this Zord is made up of red Delta Runner 1, blue Delta Runner 2, green Delta Runner 3, yellow Delta Runner 4, and pink Delta Runner 5. So all look pretty cool here together. We do get some lights and sounds that go along with this, I will show you, but it just looks pretty decent overall. Of course, all like different logos, the SPD with the numbering on them, like their suits had and everything, so we know which goes with which and all that. And just overall a pretty nice looking Megazord. Now, of course, I always start it here in the Megazord mode just so we can see what it looks like, you know, what you're sort of familiar with seeing it from the show or other toys and stuff. So just want to show that. But of course, we'll do the disassembly and turn them back into their car modes and then back into Megazord. So we'll go and start with the pink Delta Runner 5. So we'll go backwards in numbers. So we'll start with the pink. Looks pretty cool. So this is just a small buggy-like vehicle of Sidney Drew. So just a nice vehicle, mostly all white with some pink at the bottom of it. So kind of typical with Power Rangers where it's mostly white for the pink, but then have some pink thrown in as well. Has these nice rounded wheels to it. So nice kind of like weird design. Love that it's got the 5 in the front. We get the windshield design. So each vehicle will have a different windshield design there. We, of course, as you see here, have the fist in the back. So we'll go ahead and fold that in. So it just folds that. And that gives us our car mode. Now, each of these is supposed to have like a specific like task or function to it. Now, for the pink one, the only thing it does is that the back piece here lifts up and then it's supposed to turn around. And this is supposed to be like a billboard or, you know, supposed to like show stuff on it. But with our American version, it doesn't do anything. But as you see, it has like the opening. I think in the Japanese one, and you got little like pieces that could slide in and out. And with that, it's supposed to be an electronic sign that can direct traffic or make judgments, which is, you know, part of the show. The Rangers do their judgment things of trapping criminals. So it's supposed to do that, but unfortunately with ours, it doesn't really do much of anything. It's just this nice piece that sticks off the front there. But then we get the light section and stuff, you know, since it's emergency vehicle and all that. So we'll go and just put that. And of course, each of these will roll really nice and stuff with the wheels and all that they have. So there we get the Delta Runner 5. We'll go with Delta Runner 4 now. Of course, the Yellow Ranger, which looks pretty cool. Now, this is supposed to be an armored truck driven by Z Delgado. Get the 4 on the front, yellow again at the bottom, but white most of the top, so mostly white for this. We have the 2 light designs up there. Again, the different windshield design. Wheels on the bottom that will roll. And of course, just like the pink, the fist will stick out. But to get the fist folded in with this, we can only go so far. So we have to grab onto this back section here, get it lifted up to get this piece sort of out of the way. And once it's out of the way, we can fold the fist fully in. And then if you want to go and slide that back down in there. So it's supposed to have high beams, which can blind enemies. So I assume this sort of comes up a little like this. And then lights are supposed to shine out of there. And if you get it up, you can sort of like get it twisted around to the sides and stuff. So you can get it sort of shiny, the light. Of course, it would be nice if it had the light up function in this, but just that piece there. So we get the light sort of shooting out of the back of it there. So that's pretty nice overall. And of course, we'll go into the weapon, which I don't have fully, which I'll go into that, but just that we have Delta Runner 4 there. Actually, I'll set it on that side. Then we'll go to the legs. We'll go ahead and go with Delta Runner 3. So we get the Green Rangers. Now I'll have to lay that down since it won't set up, which is supposed to be an 18-wheeler mobile command center of Bridge Carson. And of course, as you see here, it forms a leg. Now this is an easy transformation. On this, you just grab onto the front here, you know, like the foot or the trailer part and fold it down. And that's it. And that's really all that it is. So we get the wheels. Of course, it doesn't really have 18 wheels, but you know, it's supposed to what it's supposed to be like. So we get the trailer in the front with the 3, of course, the little windshield for it. And it's a nice big design. So show you how big it's supposed to be, you know, compared. Well, the vehicles are always a crazy big size, but as I say, show how big it is. Obviously not from the toy, but what it'd be like in real life. Then we get like a little red design here on the top. Of course, it'd be the front of the leg and all the wheels that, of course, will roll. You can detach this, I believe. It's attached here with this black piece. I think you can pop that off if you want. It looks like it's screwed in there. I thought you could just pop it off, but there's a little screw there because I say you could separate out. So it sticks together and has a little bit of movement. So if you drive, it doesn't really like turn too well or anything. But one thing that this does is that it carries the weapons of the Zord. So we get this little compartment here you can push on. It doesn't really matter which way you slide it. It'll go either way. And this little compartment will come out holding the weapons. So there's supposed to be a sword in here, which I did have when I bought this, but I think it was broke because I did buy this used. So I'm not sure if it comes through on the camera, but some of this has like some yellowing to it and stuff, which it's not too bad. But if you know hold it around white stuff, you can tell that it's yellow. But there's supposed to be a folded up sword in here, which I said I did have, but it was broken. So I assumed since it was broken, I just threw it away and don't have it anymore. But we also get a gun. So we get the gun for the Megazord. Now with this, we can sort of mount it in here as well. So you can just sort of take it and there's slots down in the bottom and you can sort of like mount it in there like that. So as it's driving along, this can open up to either of the sides and be like sort of aiming out the side, so it can be shooting as it's driving along. So that is pretty cool. So like that design as well. We'll go and take the gun out though, just to give it to the Zord when we get to that point, and then we'll just go and push this back in. So that's one thing you can really tell the difference of the white of what it should be compared to the rest that's been sort of yellow. So there we've got the Delta Runner 3. Now going over to Delta Runner 2, and as we go along with this, we're starting to get more and more complicated with each of the Zords, so we can go and pull that off. Gives us our left leg this time, so we get the Blue Ranger's Delta Runner 2, which will turn into a gyrocopter, as I saw it was labeled, but it's just, you know, some sort of like helicopter sort of design. So to get this, we'll go ahead and fold the wings out, or whatever, like the gyro things that allow it to fly the engines, and fold the head down as well. So that's obviously the cockpit, nice 2 there on it. Of course, this is our gyro thing, so we get the little things that spin, you know, it'd be like the blades that spin and allow it to fly and all that. Again, like Delta Runner 3, it has the red sort of design there, which will light up with our functions. We get little fins that will fold out to the side here as well. So we get that, and that's pretty much it, except we do have a little running gear here, so it can actually know when it's sitting on the table, it can sit up and all that. So it'll sit like this, which I think looks pretty cool. Now, its main function is that it can turn into guns, so it can spin these around. These turn into almost, I assume, like Gatling gun sort of things there. And then it also has a rescue cable. So on the bottom here has this little piece that'll fold down and has a little rescue hook there. Of course, you can hook something. I don't know what you'd hook with this, but you get that as well that you can hook up with. So that is pretty cool. So overall, I do really like the design for the Delta Runner 2, just like the gyrocopter sort of design. I think looks pretty cool. So we'll set that off to the side there, and that leaves us with Delta Runner 1, which of course in this form doesn't really look like much of anything, so we needed it turned back into the police car that it is, driven by Jack Landers. So with this, we can go and just pop the pieces out of the back here. Now to get fully back into car mode, there's this black piece here, like could be the back bumper, whatever you fold forward, and then there's these 2 little black pieces that are clips that clip onto the side of the Megazord here, so right in the side, helps just keep it stable and all that. So you get those, you can fold back in as well, again, just to fully do it. Now for me, I usually just leave that stuff because it doesn't really affect anything. And we can fold this up, so you just get that up and around the head and push that in there, and it'll trap it all, so hide away the head and all that. And then with these, you just fold them back, so the front wheel pieces here do fold back, so just fold back away like that, turn it into a police car, which does have 6 wheels, so 2 on the front, 1 bigger one in the back. So that looks pretty cool. Of course, the number 1 SPD with the SPD little badge logo there. Of course, some red lights and stuff that will light up here, and just overall a pretty neat design for a police car, which looks cool. So that gives us all 5 of our Zords for the Delta Squad Megazord. So there's what you can see what they can look like, and of course, as I said, they all have wheels, so they can all roll around and function pretty well. Now, as I said, we do have lights and sounds and stuff on this, so we'll go ahead and flip this over and turn it on, and it'll probably start making noise. So there's red lights in the bottom pieces here as well as up here, and as we start to press like on the 1, lights will light up. So you can see those lights lighting up there, and of course lights would light up here, but you can't really see it. And then I do believe this also the thing that if you like hit it, yeah, it starts making noises too of like being hit and stuff, so that's pretty cool. And then I think it makes some extra noises. Like, I don't know how you really getting me. I just keep sounds the same, so whatever that noise is, it keeps doing. But I think as you start to do more of the Zord stuff, it will do some different things. And then with this car as well, part of its function, it does have a function of transformation delta, which allows the sword, which again I don't have because it's broken, will attach to the wheel here, so it allows it like a big giant blade coming out of the wheel, so as it drives around, you can chop up the monsters and all that, which is cool. And it functions with the back of the Delta Runner 4 here, so this attaches onto it, which again, I wish I had the sword. It would attach on the here to form the blade, and then you can attach this on, so obviously you can like take it and it'll attach this pieces onto the wheel, and then have the blade sticking out there, so it drives around like that. So that would be pretty cool. But besides that, its function is that it has little claws that can fold up. So on each of the sides here, we get little pieces that will fold up with claws inside, so we get these little claws that come out. So I don't know why it keeps making that beeping noise, but then we get the little claws that come out, and they will move around to the side and stuff, so you get those extra little like claws, so you can grab on and probably help people or something in an emergency. So that is pretty nice. I'll go and turn the lights and sounds off for now till we do the Megazord. So there we can fold those back in, and they just fold back to the side like that. So overall, pretty nice function. I do like the police car. I think it looks the best. Just love the red and white design. Just love that as more stickers and all that. And overall, they all just look pretty cool. I always love things like this, like the individual vehicles that then transform into a Megazord. That looks pretty cool. So overall, nice design for that. But we can go ahead and transform it back into the Megazord mode now. So we'll go and start the red cart, and you just completely undo what you did. So we'll take the front section here, fold them back. That allows the pieces to come down to the front there. Of course, this will be the attachment pieces for the legs, and as you can tell, those were the sections that lit up, so it will affect with the legs there of lighting up. And then we go to the back here, and you just kind of pull it back to get it separated out. Fold this back part down. Now, as I said, you have to get these little sections to get it to be more stable, so it's kind of hard to grab onto, but there's one on each side you got to pull down and get them straight down like that. So we got both of those on each side, and again, this back like bumper piece opens up. I don't know if you have to open this. I know it's a part in the instructions, and I think it sort of clashes with the back if you don't, but you can open that up, and then of course get that piece all slid forward. And there's connection pieces right in here that connect, as well as these pieces that will connect on the sides as I showed you. So you get that all pushed together, and that gives us the Delta Rotor 1 in Megazord mode, so that's pretty nice. And we can go ahead and turn the lights and stuff back on just so we can view the noises as it does stuff. So as you hear that, as you like sort of hit it now, it makes more of a metal like clinking sound and stuff, so that's pretty cool. So then going over to Delta Runner 2, while we're in this mode, I'm going to go ahead and take the bottom of the wing pieces off here, because this will be another function of the Zord. So I'll go ahead and just pop these off as well so I can show you that, and then we'll just turn it back into the Megazord mode. So what we want to do is get the front piece here folded up, since that'll be the front of our foot there. Make sure we get the landing gear folded back in, and make sure the hook's all back in there as well. And then we fold the wings back to the side, and they sort of get to the back there like that, and fold these little flaps in as well. So then we can connect that up to the body. So we just have this down in there, and it'll sort of connect together. And as you heard, it made more of that metal clinking sound. Then we go over to Delta Runner 3. So our tracking, again, simple easy with this. We just take this front piece and push it up till it clips back in. And that's really all you have to do for that. And we'll go and attach it onto the leg as well. So there we got it all clipped back in. And as you see, there are lights sort of flashing there. And that leads us back to our arms now. So we'll go and just take this. Again, all you have to do is get the arms folded, or the hands, I should say, folded out. We'll go and pull this piece out as well. So then you get the hands folded around. That one's always stuck for some reason, and it hurts to try and get that loosened. So there we get that. And again, that's all you really do with that, is just get the hands folded out, and we can attach it on, again, making the metal sounds there. And then for Delta Runner 5 with this, again, all we got to do is get the hand folded out, nothing really else to it, and attach it onto the body. So there we got all the arms and the Zord back together now. Now, as I said, you can take this out, and it's supposed to attach to the sword, and you're supposed to, do this, attach it to the sword, and put it in the hand, turn it into a big sword for the Megazord. But again, I don't have that piece since it was broken, so can't really do that. But I guess you could just kind of do this, and it could be like a weird gun. But of course, as I already showed you, we have the gun, so we can take the gun and put it into the Zord's hand. So there, it's now got a gun there that it can fight with. And as you saw, I took the pieces off the bottom of the wings, and these will turn into a pair of handcuffs. So it has this little clip piece here, a little peg piece, whatever. You gotta fold up, and then we can attach them together in the center there. So it turns into a pair of handcuffs, and then we can just take these and stick it into the other hand there. So it's ready to arrest a monster there. So now it has a pair of handcuffs, which is pretty cool. And of course, now with this, we can hit the buttons again to get it all lit up. And you don't really see it too well, again, because of the lighting, but with the lights there and down in the legs and up on the shoulder. So that all looks pretty cool with the lights. Of course, you hear the sound and stuff. Gets pretty annoying, so I'll go ahead and turn that off. And then I don't know why it's also doing that beeping sound, but just pretty cool as Megazord overall. Of course, it's a Megazord from Power Rangers, so there's not a whole lot to, it doesn't have a whole lot of functions. Not, like a Transformer, where each piece would have all their own separate transformations to do a lot of crazy stuff, and then also can combine them into a combiner. These just, have simple, car, like the two arms, you just fold the little hands out is really all you have to do. But overall, I think it's pretty cool. I wish I did have the sword piece just so I could have a 100% complete version, but just having the sword, like I said, I did have it. It was just broken, so it was pretty much useless. So I'm sure I got rid of it because of that. But having the gun is really all that matters. As long as it has some sort of weapon is all I care about. And then it has the handcuff function as well. Is pretty fun accessory, although I don't know why I wouldn't like that too much or anything, but it is just an extra fun accessory there. But overall, that is going to be it for our Power Rangers SPD Delta Squad Megazord. Overall, pretty cool Megazord. I do like the look and function, love the car designs, that each turns into its own vehicles. That I do like the designs of, think they were pretty neat overall with that, and do like that the lights and sound still function. Like I said, I did buy this used, so I was surprised it worked at all, but the battery compartment was all clean, no batteries in it, so I was able to put some batteries in and it worked right away, as you saw. So it works out pretty good, so nice that that is working and everything. Like I said, just wish I had a good sword so I could have a complete Zord, but overall a pretty cool one at that. So nice to start off our SPD. So let me know what you thought of this Zord down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know with that like, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to see more videos. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.